it is actually not just the calories that are in sugar that are making you fat and diabetic. It is actually the components of sugar. Let's spend a few minutes and let me explain why. Welcome to Gigi Han channel. Before we go more in depth into the discussion, first we have to understand that table sugar, also known as sucrose, that is usually made of sugar cane or beet, it actually consists of two parts. The first part being glucose, the second part, fructose. Many people, they have already known what glucose does to the body, so I will go through it very quickly. When you take in sugar, it is absorbed in the intestine and it is broken down into glucose and fructose. The glucose goes into our bloodstream, and at that point it is known as blood glucose. Blood glucose is absorbed by our cells and it is utilized as energy. When you take in more and more sugar than you need, what will happen is there will be an increase in blood sugar level of glucose, and at that point our pancreas will release a hormone called insulin. And what is the function of this insulin? It is a hormone that will try to reduce the blood glucose level. And how it does it is to turn the blood glucose into fatty acid and in turn as fat, and it is stored in our adipose tissue. Also, blood glucose is converted into glycogen and it is stored in liver and muscle, but it is a relatively small amount. When you take in sugar frequently, what will happen is your blood glucose level will rise in waves, and in order to counteract this, pancreas will need to secrete more and more insulin in order to try to turn the blood glucose into adipose cells that can be deposited within the muscles and also the liver. But when you have more and more adipose cells or fat cells that are in your liver and your muscle, what will happen is they become less and less sensitive towards insulin. In other words, insulin will try to come and knock on the door to ask the cells to take in the blood glucose, but your cells are not answering the door. So this is the popular and well-known factor that causes metabolic syndrome, diabetes, obesity, and so on. Now, let's bring our discussion to the second component, which is less well-known and more interesting, and it is called fructose. In order for us to continue this discussion, first, we have to bring the time frame back to about 15 million years ago. During that time, it was known as Middle Miocene period. During that time, Earth was much cooler than what we are experiencing right now, and of course, food was much less abundant and much more difficult to come by. But a small group of human ancestors, they possessed a superpower. What was their superpower? They were able to generate more fat, not to make them obese, but they were able to generate more fats compared to others to keep them warm, and also they were able to raise their blood sugar level, their blood glucose level higher, so they could power their brains longer, so they could come up with ideas not to get eaten by other animals and survive. How did they achieve this? They had a defect of an enzyme called uric acid, and the signal was uric acid. Let me piece all of this together for you. So, during late summer, early fall, our ancestor could gather a lot of fruits like berries, and when they take in berries, and what do you know? It contains high level of fructose. In our body, fructose is converted and broken down into uric acid, and uric acid is broken down further through this enzyme called uricase, and excreted out from our body through the kidney. When they had this defect of uric acid, the uric acid level in the body shot up. It shot up to the extent of 4 to 5 times higher than other mammals. And what does this high level of uric acid would do to the body? It would tell the body to store more fat so you can keep warm and to raise blood glucose level in order to power their brain continuously. When they got more fruits in their diet, more fructose, it is telling the body, winter is coming, store fat, raise blood glucose level, try to survive. This is why bears, before their winter hibernation, they would take in a lot of berries, which, you know what? High fructose level, to fatten themselves up, and also for hummingbirds. Before their migration journey from Canada to Mexico and Mexico to Canada, they take in tons of nectar, which you know, high level of fructose, again, to fatten up their bodies. Now, through evolution, fortunately or unfortunately, this gene has been passed down into you and I. Comparatively, our uric acid level, even at its normal level, it is 4 to 5 times higher compared to that of other mammals. So, when you take in sugar, or even worse, you are taking in food and beverages that contain this sweetener called high fructose corn syrup, which can contain 60 to even 70% of fructose. Instead of just giving your body energy, it is telling your body to produce more fat and raise blood sugar level, blood glucose level in order to prepare your body for the winter that never comes. Instead of getting your body to get ready for the winter starvation, your body will get fatter and you will be on the road to diabetes. I hope you learned something new today. If you like hanging out with me, please consider to like this video and subscribe to the channel. I'm Gigi Han, and I will see you in the next one.